So I'm so excited. I am in the presence of Alison Crosthwait, founder of the Expand program. And I cannot, I feel like our paths have crossed like a million times over the last, 10 years maybe. I hear your name consistently in my circle of people. You have the most incredible story. You may not think it's incredible. I think it's incredible. I would love to hear a bit more about your journey, and then we can talk about your present day work.
Sure, sounds good. And likewise, Amanda, I'm really happy for this ultimate meeting between us after so many years.
Good.
Where would you like me to start?
Well, I think it's the coming out of the last 2 years and looking at this word pivot that everyone's saying, which I really, if I never have to hear that word again, I'd be the happiest person alive. But let's call it an adjustment or like a new discovery, a new movement. You are the queen of adjusting, arguably. So how about you maybe start with like the world that you were in that doesn't even feel connected to what you're doing now, but probably is.
Right. So out of university, I started as a trader, first on Bay Street, then on Wall Street in New York and Chicago. I was a quantitative equity trader for a number of firms, including Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse. It doesn't even feel like I'm describing me when I say that, but for real, for 15 years, I traded financial markets.
Wild. And then this industry led you into a completely different industry.
Yeah, so I always say to people, like, use your imagination, how you go from being a trader to being a therapist, which is basically a ton of stress. Right. And I had my own stress, my own relationship problems, my own difficult relationship with alcohol that was normalized in the business. I just was feeling like crap all the time.
Yeah, the grind, I suppose. Hey?
Yeah, like so much travel. I traveled over to the Dateline, so I had a 48-hour birthday one time, but it's not that cool when you're all by yourself and Singapore Airlines brings you a cake.
Oh.
It all sounds very cool, but it was a grind. And so I entered therapy to start to figure things out for myself. And it started to help me tremendously, but I didn't understand why, because I'm just talking, right?
Right. But someone who loves therapy, talking to discovery, I suppose.
That's right.
Yeah, self-discovery, which likely is a segue into where you are now.
Exactly. Yeah. I got obsessed with change. I was amazed that this woman that I was talking to, this was her career, was just talking to me.
Yeah. And digging and asking.
Yeah. And I was changing my life as a result because she was interested in what I had to say. Mm-hmm. And while I had a pretty powerful job, lots of privilege in my life, no one really wanted to know how I thought about things and what I felt. Right. And it was the first time when someone was curious.
Or arguably that maybe you didn't feel so alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay. And so and therapy is no longer... in the traditional sense, the Western traditional sense. Mm-hmm. And now we are here in this amazing new space.
Yeah.
So tell us all the things.
Yeah. So I got to a point in my healing journey where therapy wasn't enough.
Okay.
Changed my life, became a therapist, but still there was more. And I felt really called to a plant called ayahuasca.
Okay.
Which is delivered traditionally in shamanic ceremony. And I went to Peru and I did a ceremony. And my ceremony intention was to have a baby.
Okay.
And I work very much with intention now when I work with these medicines. And it was interesting because what happened was so obvious and yet so surprising.
Just say more.
My sexuality woke up.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I kind of put it to the side through all these fertility treatments and many miscarriages and losses. I was like, well, that part's not important. And the plant was like, Alison, your desire matters. Mm-hmm. And through this process of coming alive in my body and my sexuality, my whole life just totally changed.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the power of plant medicine to change our lives, right?
Right. And so I guess that further developed into the therapy that you're doing now.
Yeah, so I understand that ayahuasca is not for everybody. It's very intense. It's all night. You're throwing up. I'm not qualified to offer it. But I started to, because I love the psychedelic medicine, get to know psilocybin, known as magic mushrooms, which is a very palatable, relatively easy way to start work with psychedelic healing. And I left the psychotherapy profession to be able to publicly speak and serve my clients with psychedelics.
And so, I mean, microdosing, psilocybin, all of that stuff is hugely, I hate to say it, on trend.
Yes,
it's current. It's new. It's the new cannabis. It's the new piece. But I would argue that it's not actually new at all. It's been around forever, right? In looking at your approach, and some of the things that really stuck out was you've highlighted this medicine, let's call it, as something that's been accessible forever. I mean, you know what? It's funny. I watched Bridgerton last night, the second season, and they're microdosing on Bridgerton. No. I know. I was just like, I got to call Alison. Yeah, like it's been around for, I mean, not that Bridgerton is, shit example, but it is something that's been around that hasn't been discussed, and I don't think has been available maybe to women. And this is where you're cracking open this space. So I'd love to speak more about the therapy of what you're doing, because it is therapeutic, and your approach to coaching and teaching people use of this medicine.
Sure. Yeah. And I think this is really important because it is very on trend, and there's a lot of talk about a lot of different things these medicines can do. The way that I work is very much like Joseph Campbell's The Healing Journey. You set an intention. And that can be anything from, yes, I'd like a baby, to I want to make more money in my business. I want to feel more consistent energy or positivity. Your intention can be anything. And then you set off on a journey. And in microdosing, I do an 8-week journey where my clients are dosing twice a week in service of this whole intention. So what happens when you go off on the journey? Something unexpected happens. Something you think is in your way, an obstacle, which turns out to be the thing you needed to see or face or slay, in terms of a dragon, in order to get to your intention. So this is the way I work with the medicine. There's a lot more I could say about the details of it, but it amplifies your healing journey, and it amplifies what needs to move through you.
Right.
And then you come back home new with your new gifts.
Well, I can imagine the safety piece of being a lot, like, I have friends who are being sent mushrooms to try, like influencer space being sent. And I suppose there's instruction manuals, but for me, it would feel pretty unsafe to not have someone who knows what they're saying and doing, and who can actually deal with that cracking open.
Yes.
Right? It's one thing to open up this stuff, but if you don't know where to put it or how to feel safe in it, that could be
exactly. And this is what
helpful.
What happens is people have experiences, but they don't necessarily have shifts. And my approach is about shifts, results, becoming who we really are. We can recreationally use these things whenever we want to, but this is I'm talking about a totally different usage.
Right. And so is your practice, for the record, I'm coming in really new. I didn't overly research because I actually want to be the student today. I really want to know what you're doing. But my experience with psilocybin therapy is, I've had a few friends who've done the fast and fierce, the full dosing guided therapy. And the way that they're explaining it is like 10 years of therapy cracked into 2 days. That to me feels like a ripping open that I'm not ready for. But for PTSD clients and people who have been working forever on things, it might be a solution. Is this something that you're working with as well? Or are you specific in the microdosing space?
I do both.
Okay.
And many of my clients do both. I know. But you see, what's right for you right now.
Yes.
And what's not. Everybody does.
Yeah.
My job is just to reflect back. Yeah, so microdosing would be the place to start if you felt drawn.
Okay.
Because you don't do it until you want it.
Yeah, fair. I'm still even scared about, I want to talk about microdosing. Sure. So I want to talk about, there's a lot of women in my close circle who are super interested. And the idea of like going away together and trying something, and I'm just like, Mama, I'm so scared. I don't know where to start this thing. I know it's not scary. I mean, no disrespect, but it's just like, it's misunderstood. And that's what I'm trying to do is like debunk this whole thing and get people to know that there is a safe space to explore this opportunity. So tell me about microdosing. Tell me about what you might feel or experience as well.
Sure. So microdosing is taking a sub-perceptual, sub-hallucinogenic dose.
Say more.
That means you do not feel high.
Oh.
No hallucinations.
Okay.
When I get the dose right with people, and it can take a little back and forth, when a person gets the dose right, they just feel more themselves.
Okay.
And
like, is it like an awareness?
Yes.
Okay.
So your awareness is a little bit more.
Yeah.
People experience it differently. Awareness a little bit more, presence a little bit more landed in yourself. And you know those moments when something happens and you have the choice to go positive or negative?
Yes.
It's like there's just a little elf that slows down time and goes, you can make a positive choice.
Is the elf wearing like a mushroom hat?
Sometimes, but it's like there's help available. You have a little bit more natural help.
The inclination is to go positive because you've got that uplifting feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound scary.
It's really not.
Okay.
It's really not.
And so, just to make sure that people understand that getting a box in the mail is maybe not the best place to start, let's talk about the 8 weeks. What would it look like? I sign up today. What does this look like for me as a client?
So it starts with sourcing, dosing, preparation, like the practical stuff.
Okay. So you're not the one dispensing. So
no.
Is that? Oh, maybe we'll come back to that because I think that could be an interesting conversation as well.
Let's come back to that. Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So we get you set up practically, and you also start crafting your intention.
Okay.
And I have a whole bunch of curriculum around how to craft intentions, how to set up a ritual around your dose, all of this. Mm-hmm. And then you get a workbook, and you start tracking your sleep, tracking your mood, tracking things related to your intention. Mm-hmm. And then when you're ready, about a week in, you'll have your medicine, you're ready to go. And in my group, we dose on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Some people adjust that a little bit. You take your dose with your ritual, and you go through your life and you see what happens. And whatever's coming up, you've got a group for support.
Okay.
Whether it's live calls or the group chat, you've got people to say, oh, I wonder if it's that. Like, for example, one client was dealing with kind of like anxiety when she worked, and it was getting higher. She's like, and I knew what it was. And I said, it sounds like you're angry.
That's a really underused word for women generally.
Exactly.
We're not really allowed to feel that.
No, we're not. Yeah. And that's a whole topic in itself. But I have tools to help people move that anger through and then open up to what's beneath. So people are describing their experience. I'm helping them move that energy in service of their intention.
Interesting. Wow, that's so cool, because I think it sounds to me like it's just bubbling it up for you and allowing you to pay mind to it so that you can then keep focus on the big thing, the prize.
Exactly.
Okay. So I want to circle back to that comment about dispensing. I would love to understand. I mean, it's misunderstood. It's misunderstood as like a party drug in a bush somewhere when you're in high school.
That's right.
And I think there needs to be an esteem. I'd love to talk about what's happening in the industry. Generally, I think it's really misunderstood. If we look at the direction that cannabis is moving in, what's happening in the mushroom space, and what are we seeing coming down the pipeline for this medicine?
Oh my gosh, 1 million trillion products.
Okay.
Like everything.
Yeah.
And knowing what's in the products, if there's actually any hallucinogenic mushroom in the product. I mean, mushrooms are a complex set of herbal medicines. You've got lion's mane and reishi. You've got a whole bunch of different possibilities, and they're all the rage right now. and people are selling them as these various neurostack solutions. And there's skincare, you name it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. So my view on sourcing them is just really knowing where you're getting them.
Got it. The quality piece.
The quality piece is really important. You can grow your own, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I have some friends who do that, and it's like not only that, but are turning it into art. Like it's
Yes.
art. One of my best friends is creating a series, so I think I'm curious to see where it goes, and I hope that it becomes less taboo, more acceptable. We still have a long way to go in the cannabis space. I can imagine this being a piece of work to get done. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And those of us who have the ability to claim the space and say, I'm going to offer this in this way, we change things by what we do. And by doing it responsibly and with integrity.
Responsibly, integrity, and safely. I think, again,
Yes.
it just keeps coming back to that word. It's like way less scary when you have someone who really can help you through it. It's not the mushrooms that are scary. It's the cracking open that's scary, right? And then not knowing what to do with all of that.
Exactly.
And, now that I understand microdosing a bit more, it doesn't sound so swift.
It's not.
It's like gradual.
If there are tears that need to be shed, they will be shed and you will feel better
Yeah.
afterwards. Like it's all in service of beautiful intention.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I'm in love with the microdosing is, women with small children who are managing home and work, they can do it easily, seamlessly into their schedule. Whereas the macrodosing, you have to have all this space, which is also possible, but it's harder. So it's really amazing.
So I'd love to come back as well to the topic that I brought up, that this has been around forever, and how you feel this is serving women.
Right.
It's a whole big loaded.
It is. And I feel moved even just like the minute I think of it, I'm like, yeah. Because we have been carriers of these medicines for a long time. We have been carriers of plants for thousands and thousands of years. And because of the drug culture, it separated us from certain substances as if they're bad or wrong. And so we no longer have a relationship with them in the way that we might have had thousands of years ago. And so there's a fear. But actually, as I've come into relationship again with these mushrooms, I barely have to do anything anymore. They just guide me along as I go. It's like a juicy business partner relationship in a sense, because life just flows in this beautiful way, and the efforting is almost nothing.
Wow.
Like they're there for us. I always say in ceremony, thank you, mushroom teachers who love us so much. Like they love us. They're here for us in every way that we need.
Okay. So I'd love to talk a bit about your personal experience, microdosing, and also your approach to guiding others, because
Sure.
I do feel that it's unique. It's not, I haven't come across anything that's specific to your, 8 weeks is a commitment of time, but it feels like you would need that to continue to learn from the medicine.
Absolutely. And I like a commitment. It's not so long that we it's not a year. A year's too long to commit to for most people, but it's enough time to go deep and come out the other side and decide what you want to do next. That's how I feel about that. And yeah, I think my approach is quite unique in this space. I definitely haven't found anyone exactly like me, that's for sure. And what I'm really focused on is results, which is my trader part.
Yeah,
So
no
I'm
kidding.
super feminine, super flow, but I care that it works. And what I've developed is a model and it's basically layering in modalities that are physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and some sexual work to catch the low-hanging fruit, basically. Like, for example, if someone's not sleeping, it doesn't matter whether they're meditating or not to me. It doesn't matter, if their work is meaningful or not. The first thing that's important is their sleep.
Yeah.
Because they're out of whack and they're stressed out and their emotions aren't quite right. And that's let's put all our energy there. So I have a model that gets at where the energy blocks are that are going to get you the most benefit in service of your intention right away. And to me, taking the medicine is great, but without actually having a structured process for helping yourself shift in the direction of your intention, it's just taking medicine.
Right. Let's maybe go into the word intention a bit more,
Sure.
because for me, intention is going to a yoga studio and setting your intention for the day. And my intention is always just like, please don't let me be the girl who farts in the back of class. You know, like, I kind of think, like
No.
I'm not really good with the whole intention thing.
Right.
So let's talk about like what does intention look like? What are we manifesting? Because intention feels a little bit deeper than manifestation. It's actually doing the work to manifest.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I have a whole set of thoughts about the law of attraction, which is completely right and also talked about in a completely toxic way. So I don't use the manifestation word, but absolutely same. So for people who are more goal-oriented, I'm suspecting that maybe you don't have an intention for yoga practice, but that you have a business goal for the week.
Of 40.
Right.
Yeah.
So
70, 80,
Yeah, I'm kind of
100.
Exactly. So intention and business goal can be the same.
Okay.
You can choose one, like, I want 4 new locations of X by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And as you know, as an entrepreneur, it's all about the inner work.
Yeah, it's clearing space. Okay, I can feel good with this word.
Right?
It's like less woo-woo, and I love woo-woo.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like logical, practical trumps most of the time. So if I hear, and I also a lot of women in my circle, it's just, I mean, it's like, what are we doing? Like, how are we getting there kind of thing? I just want to know, tiki-taki,
totally.
let's just get there kind of thing. So this is intention with like a business bow.
Exactly. And I did it one time. I did it one day in an 8-week cycle, and my intention was clarity for cash.
Okay.
And by the end of the day, Amanda, like 3 of my vendors had blown up in the biggest ways. They'd shown themselves to be who they were, and I'd let them go. Cash.
Amazing.
So it's that type of like, you're setting an intention, you're being willing to look, and it was a scary day because you lose people who are supporting you. It's scary.
Right.
And it had been under the surface.
It's been there waiting all along. So you're just revealing it. Okay.
And you're getting aligned in a super fast way.
Interesting. Huh. I could just, this is so cool. So what do the groups look like that are coming to see you? Are you aligning personalities, or are you just accepting all humans? Who's
So I do
coming to
have
you?
a screen for sure, because I don't take serious mental health concerns.
Sure.
And there are some contraindications for the work.
Okay.
They're pretty limited, but there are some. That being said, my people are people who already know their patterns. They're self-aware.
Okay.
They've probably done a little therapy. They do yoga. They journal. They love Brene Brown. These
Love me
types
some
of things.
Brene, guys.
I know.
Love me some Brene.
Every day. Right? So you already know your patterns, and you're not quite there. Like one of my clients' intentions is consistent experience of self-esteem.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful intention. I love the word consistency. It's my favorite word. I try to live that word. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just taking that personal growth that you're already open to another level. And so the beauty of the groups is everybody's already got a lot of language for their work.
Right.
They bring a lot of wisdom. Some are more dancey people. Some are more artistic. Some are really professional. But everybody's been working on themselves for some time. This is not your first step into self-reflection.
Fair. You'd have to be able to name the thing.
Yeah.
And that requires some work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be on your path to self-responsibility.
Right.
And we all fall down sometimes, but we have to understand that the world's not doing everything to us, that we have a chance to create our lives for the most part.
Yes.
That's important.
It's hard for a lot of people.
It is hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. And so what about the more intense guided therapy, the full dosing? It's not micro, it's the whole way in. Is that something that's accessible to people who maybe wouldn't be in the 8-week program? Like I can imagine someone coming into that space who has experienced trauma. Do you still have the same requirement of like having done some work? Or
Absolutely.
You do? Okay.
I do, because if somebody comes without having done work and with a lot of trauma, I'm not set up outside the healthcare system
Fair.
to really help them.
Got it.
And my programs aren't designed for that, I definitely do my best to find resources for them. Generally, my people for the micro and the macrodosing programs are the same client base. They're just drawn to different levels of intensity.
Okay.
At different times.
Yeah. Okay. This is so exciting.
It is really exciting.
It is really exciting. Okay. So Bay Street to Wall Street to psychotherapy to mushrooms. What's your next intention?
Oh, I love you. I love that you know that there's got to be something.
There's something else. Where are we going? What am I going to interview you about next?
It really moves me. I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect. Okay. I'm making a claim for the wisdom of the body.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As the source of all of our juice.
Yeah.
All of it. And that the way that we're constantly looking for expert facts to back up what we do is a way that we give up power.
Right. Look inward.
And it's not to say we can't co-create with science. We do, but it's our stance. Mm-hmm. And I know that as I grow, I'm going to be hitting some serious, what I call a backlash, some serious objections from science who say, yes, this work, they believe in this work, science supports this work, but my approach, while I read the research, my approach is entirely guided by the mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's more and more space in Western medicine in looking at new approaches. I hope so. Only because I'm in an industry that's like not very much appreciated, I shouldn't say isn't appreciated. It's just there's not the same esteem to cosmetic treatments as there is to, saving lives, and rightfully so. I mean, shit, it's pretty obvious why. Yeah. But I see alignment in working in a space that's misunderstood and trying to bring light to options and show a new way of doing it. And I think it's the same. We're doing the same thing for people. We don't have to talk about transformation or redoing or modifying. It's really it's the inside work. It's the inside sauce. It's the drink the water, eat the mushrooms, get the glow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that I hope that there's a lot more people who find you from this. I think that it's a gift to humanity, to humans that are coming to see you.
Yeah, my purpose is to midwife change on the planet.
Okay, I love that. Put that on a t-shirt.
Right? So when people come to me, when women come, like ready, ripe for change, I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
And so, I mean, you're mothering mothers in that you're teaching them how to use this. I mean, as a mother myself of two girls, how is this changing motherhood for women?
It's one of the most beautiful things in my own journey is I didn't get to be the mother of a living child. And so it's so gratifying when I see this. But often, this is what I get is I just had the most intimate moment with my son last night. I was so present to him. For I feel like years have healed because of the afternoon we just spent together. Mm-hmm. Like there's a presence and an opening in parenting that comes from doing our own inner work and getting calm, even in the midst of all the craziness, to know it's all going to be okay.
Yeah, it's like you're providing focus, like razor sharp focus on things that matter.
Yeah, and when I see the benefits of that, that's why I'm willing to work in this edgy area. People are like, you do drugs, I don't need substance. Like, you get all this garbage. I don't care because I see what happens when women are equipped to love more because they're loving themselves more. Worth it.
Yeah, so I mean, you are mothering. You are maybe not out of your own body, but you're making way more impact. That's amazing. I love it. I want to come back to intention again. Yeah, clearly, I'm stuck on this word. It's something I think obviously I need to work on because I'm not understanding it fully. But what are some of the examples that people are bringing to you?
Sure. So turning my wounds into wisdom.
Wow, these people have done the work if they can say stuff like that.
Right,
Or
yeah.
you maybe taking like
We work together.
Yes. Okay.
We
Yes.
work together to come up with pithy things that while you're going through your day, you can really calm down.
Yeah.
Soothing my nervous system with love and light.
Okay.
That's a beautiful one. The consistent self-esteem.
Yeah.
People want presence. Presence is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, in the world of like swiping and looking and screens and stuff, I can imagine
Presence
that being
and focus is, absolutely. Ease from the overwhelm, the internal and the external overwhelm. A lot of that, for sure.
okay. And maybe I'll just continue on because I have a lot of artist friends who are mutual friends. Let's call it that. But what are you doing for the artist community? How are you cracking that open?
Well, they come with similar intentions. And what I love about working with artists is they have so much flow already.
Yeah.
They tend to have a lot of emotional flow. They have ideas. So if I can help them be present, this is the thing. The mushrooms are working on both our ground, our presence, and our expansion. And it runs through the heart, self-esteem, the pleasure centers all the way to the ground. So we need all of those parts to really run creativity. So if someone has amazing ideas but can't feel their feet, they're going to have trouble manifesting those ideas in the world.
Yes.
So it's about, for people who have ideas, getting ground. For people who are a little sluggish, getting ideas. So we're always just balancing the energy and helping more come into the world, whoever you are.
I'm like really paying attention to my feet right now because I have so many ideas.
I know, you and me both. It's been a
Just
journey.
like, I'm just gonna put these things right here.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
So Instagram, Alison Crosthwait is a great place. And also go to expandwithmicrodosing.com and you'll get a little talk that I gave on microdosing.
Okay.
And you'll be in my email system. And if you want to email me from there, we can talk about Expand as well.
Let's start microdosing, guys. Thank you for coming today.
Of
it was
course,
so
Amanda.
great to finally
This is super
connect.
fun. Yeah.
I hope that our people really are drawn to you as I am.
Thank you for having me.